Okay, so in our previous session, we discussed how to connect Mulesoft API to Salesforce, and we understood what are the different ways for a Mulesoft API or Mulesoft application to connect to Salesforce. Now, in this session or in coming sessions, we will discuss how we can perform various operations, um, various operations on the Salesforce from the Mule. When I'm saying the operation, it means how we can query, how we can delete an object, how we can create an object, right? How we can maybe uh, run a Apex class, so things like that. So we will see how we can perform these operations. Okay. Now in today's session, first we will discuss how to query an object, right? How to query for the data, or how to run a query in the Salesforce from the Mule API. Okay, so to query operation, I mean, for the query operation, I can use one of existing objects or predefined objects from the Salesforce and run it. But actually, then it may create a problem, right, in other operations, right? And those objects may be complex and large, right? So that may be difficult to understand, right? So what I'm going to do is I will create a object in the Salesforce for our discussion. So in all our sessions, I will be using the same object and the object relationship, right? Now I also want to discuss the relationship between the object that exists in the Salesforce, and it is important to understand that part because in few operations, uh, the syntax to access the child objects is different. So I want to touch that part as well. So what I'm going to do is, first I will create a Salesforce. I will create two objects in the Salesforce, and then we will use these two objects in our all sessions for different operations. Okay. So I'm going to create a object. Okay. um, Employee. Okay, and I will create a parent child relationship for that employee object with the address. Okay, so what kind of relationship that will be? So I will have a employee, right, and then we will have addresses. Okay, now relationship between the employee and address is one to many. All right. And this makes sense in this case because one employee can have multiple addresses, like his office address, his permanent address, his current address, stuff like that, right? His on-site address, right? So one employee can have multiple addresses. And if you see, if I delete an employee, I also want to delete the addresses that are associated with it, right? So we will create a one-to-many relationship between the employee object and the address object, and that relationship will be of type master and detail. In the Salesforce, this master and detail relationship has this kind of property where if you delete the parent object, it will also delete the child object. Okay, so we'll create these two objects, and then we will see how we can query these objects, data from these objects from the Mule API. Okay, and we are going to create very simple objects, not complex with not with lot of fields and stuff like that, because the concept that we are going to discuss, that remains same. Right? Whether you have a simple, I mean, if you have an object with 4 fields, or if you have an object with 200 fields, so things will still remain same, right? But I will still try to cover all the scenarios that exist. Okay, so let's go here, and let's first create the object. Now, to create the object, what you need to do, click on this icon and then click on the setup. Okay, to create the object, you have to go to here, object and fields, click on the object manager. Okay, and then you need to click on the create. Okay, so create custom object. Okay, so here is your object name, right? So our object name is employee, so this will come employees, right? And this is your object name. Description, if you want, you can give the description, right? So that let it be like this. Record name is employee, so okay, and enter the record name label and the format. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, so in each object, right, in the Salesforce, we have to create a field that will uniquely identify records in that objects, right? It's like your primary key in the, if you want to understand or relate it with the databases, then in each table we create a primary key, right? Similarly, in the Salesforce also, you have to create a kind of the primary key that that they call as the name record. Okay, so I mean, if you want, you can have you can use this as a text, right? So but if you use it text, then you have to specify the value for the record, the name field, right? But I want to make it auto number, so that every time we enter a new record, Salesforce automatically generate a unique number for it, right? And so here, if we want, we can specify a format as well, right? So like we can say s oh no, employee, and then 000, starting with 1, right? And we can leave other fields as it is. Let's click on the save, right? So here is my object, right? Okay, so here's my employee object. Okay, next we have to add the fields in this. Okay, so here's my name. This is the field that I discussed, which is now set has been set up as a auto number. So it will, every time we enter a new object, value of this field will increment it, right? And it will be like emp hyphen 1 2 3 4, right? Now, so let's create some fields in this. So here is new, right? So first I want to create the employee name, and the data type for that field is text, so it will be text. Click on the next. Here it will be employee name. Okay, so length is maybe employee name is 50 characters. That's it. Next, like these are related to the visibility, so we can leave this for now as it is. So and it will be in employee layout. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. So this is my name. Let's define one more field, which is number, and it will be like the age. Okay, length is 18, that's fine, that will work for now. Okay, oops. Okay, and let's click on the save. Okay, so now I have two fields in this object, name and the age. Okay, I can add one more, say suppose the phone number, or email address. So I mean, if I can select any of these fields, right? Let's select the email. Email. Okay, so this field will automatically get all the validations that are required for the email data type. Okay, so now I have this object called the employee. Okay, and next, so this is my okay, so we can leave other things as it is. And next I want to create one more object, right? So as we discussed here, right? So employee has many addresses. Now we are going to create address, and in the address field I have to create a relationship for the employee. Create custom object, and here is my employee address. Okay, employee address, let it be auto number, that's fine. Yep. Click on the save. Permission for this object are disabled or profile by default. What is this? Review all error messages. Invalid data. Where is invalid data? Oh, starting with 1. Okay, the relationship. Now I have to create the fields for this object. So I'm going it this will be very simple object, right? I do not want to add a lot of fields in this, but if we want we can add it, right? So text address line 1, right, and the length will be, say, suppose 100 characters, right, and then okay, it's not required. So if we want to make any field required and unique, we can choose one of these options, right? And if you see this the external ID, we will use it later uh, for some operation. Okay, click on next. Okay, okay. Now this is save. Now then we need to have another text field called the state and country, and say suppose this is 200. Okay, so now we have these two fields. Next I'm going to create relationship, right, and my relationship is master detail. Okay, relates to employee. Okay, now it is asking about the employee address. And I want to make everything small, so let me do this employee address. Allow users with the redirect. Okay, that's fine. Add this field. Yep, so these things are good. Right, all right. Now so we have two objects, employee and the employee and address, and we have created the relationship as well, right? So now let's see how we can add some values in these two objects, right? So if we want to do that, we have to create an app and add those objects uh, in that app. Okay, so now we are going to do that. App manager, so we are going to create a new lightning app. No. Okay, so we have to come here on this app manager, right? And so before we create this new lightning app, okay, we have to create a tab for our objects, right? So that we add those tabs in this app, right? And in Salesforce, apps are basically nothing, so they are just a collection of tabs. Okay, so to create the tab, we have to go to here, and then you have to click here, tabs, right? So in Salesforce, we have this kind of tabs that we can create, but for now we need to create the custom object tab because we created a custom object. Okay, so click on new, right? Then from here select your object. So my object is this, right, employee, right? And then you can select the tab style, right? So whatever style you like, you can you can select, right? So say suppose I select this one, doesn't matter, right? Splash, no, this is not required, right? Now apply one tab visibility to our profile, right? So basically it is asking if you want make this tab to visible to all profiles or not. So this is something related to your visibility and security, so we doesn't matter for to us, right? And then we have the okay, so here it is asking if you want to add this tab which you are creating now, automatically added and available to all existing apps or not, right? So if you want it to available in all the apps, you can leave it as it is, and if you want to change something, you can change it here. Then click on save, and now here we are, right? So now we have a tab called the employee. Similarly, we have to create one more tab for employee, and here is our employee address, right? So employee address, just select something. Let's select address. Do we have something called the address? No, so select something, doesn't matter. Again, this is related to the visibility, right? To profile visibility. Then this is uh, again the same thing. What all where you want this tab to be available, right? So we have now we have created our objects, and we have associated, and we have created a tab for those objects, right? Next I'm going to create, we'll go to the app manager, and I will create a new lightning app. Okay, so write some name for your app. So let's say ABC Corp. Okay, and the developer name is same ABC Corp. If you want, you can change it. If you have an image, you can place it here. You will see that image when you open the app. If you want to change the color here, you can change it like this color, right? Click the next, right? So here is navigation style. You want the standard or the console. So standard, you want, like, you will get all the tabs at the top, but if you select the console, you will get multiple tabs, right? uh, in a page, right? So that this let the user to work on multiple tabs or multiple objects together, right? So for now we can leave all these things as it is, doesn't matter. So next, here I have to select my tabs that I want to present in this app, right? So I want my employee and this employee, and then employee address. So these two tabs will be available on this app, right? So this is, so first create the object, then associate those objects with the tab, and then add these those tabs to the app, right? So these, okay, let me complete this. Then user profile, so which, here we can select which profile will have access to this app. Okay, so again this is something related to the security, right? So because I am using uh, this guy, uh, uh, free account, right, trial account, and my user is a system user, right, which I use to connect to Salesforce and log into the application, Salesforce application. That is a default user, and that user is a system administrator. So I'm selecting this so that at least I can access to this application that I'm creating, and then click on the finish. Okay, now we are here. So I think we are done. We are good to create objects. So you come over here and select for your app ABC Corp. So here is your ABC Corp. Click on this. Now here you have two tabs, right? This is exactly what we created. Okay, so if you want to create a new object, click here new, and you can start creating the objects. 23, and then you have employee email, right? So let's create one more object. Okay, so employee Mike, age 33, email is mike@gmail.com. Done. Come over here. We can create some addresses. So this is suppose 33 ABC Street, and then country is India, state is say suppose MP colon India, and then we can associate this address with the employee. Okay, so say suppose I want to associate with the first employee, right? I mean, we have ways to customize all these things, right now. If you see, I do not see the name of the employee, right? But we can customize it. But for now, it's okay. It does not matter, right? Create one more. Let's create one more employee object. Oh, sorry, address. Right, 33. Street, and the state is Victoria, Australia, and then the ad, it is associated with the same employee, right? So yeah, so this is, now we have some data in my objects which I can use in my API for the query. Okay, now let's write the queries. Okay, so to write the query, what you need to do, click here and then click on the developer console. Okay, here we can write the query, and we will use the same query in our API. Okay, so select and then what was the name of our I forget the name and the fields. So what let me open the object. No, it will not be here, it will not be in the app, it will be in the object and fields, object manager, and employee. Okay, so if you see here, we need to use this name. Okay, so Salesforce automatically adds underscore C, because C indicates that this is custom object, right? And then you have, we can query one of these fields. Select age underscore C, employee underscore name underscore C, and this will be double underscore, and then email underscore C from C. Okay, if I execute, I will see my data. Okay, now say suppose I also want to extract the address that is associated with this employee, right? Then how I will do it? So to do that, what we need to do is we need to use the relationship. Okay, so if I come here and if I say oh, relation, okay, so actually I have to use the other object, sorry, but it's okay. Let's go to my other object, because the relationship field exists in the child object in master detail relationship type. So what was the name of that object? Employee, yeah, employee address. Come over here. So I have to actually change this query and say select from v, and then address line 1 underscore underscore c, and the state and country underscore underscore c, right? And then I will use this field. Okay, so let's, if I use this field, let's see what happens. Okay, let me remove this. Okay, okay, so yep, here it is, right? Now if you see, if I select the relationship field, which is my employee address underscore underscore c, I get the this id only, right? Or the unique identifier that identify that record, right? Now if I want to access the values of that in that object, right, what I can do is I can use underscore underscore r dot which one is that? Okay, so say suppose I want to get the age underscore underscore c, and similarly the whole thing, right? Copy this, age, and I also need the employee underscore underscore name, which is this. Okay, so now let's see how it looks. Yep, so if you see, I'm able to get the name, right, and the age, right, which is associated with my addresses. So which means I'm in one query only, right? With one query only, I'm able to get the parent as well as the child object. So the point is, when we want to access the parent object from a relationship, right, we need to use underscore underscore c dot and then the field name in the other objects, right? If we use the underscore underscore c, you will get only the id, right? So if you want to travel to the relationship object or the parent objects, you have to use the underscore underscore r, and then the name of the field. Okay, name of the field in the parent object, like this, as you can see here. Okay, so now I will copy this query, or I will use it later, right? And now let's go back to our AnyPoint Studio. Here what I need to do, let's create a project, right? Or actually I can use the one that we used in the previous session, so let's use this one, doesn't matter. Okay, okay, so now I will change the URL for this from connection to query. All right, so this is my query. Okay, and I have the query, where is that? Here. All right, so this is my query, and let me see how we are connecting to our Salesforce. Okay, so we are using OAuth SAML, right? So let's see if it's connecting or not. I mean, I do not remember if I have updated something in the Salesforce or in Studio. Okay, so it's connecting, so that should work. Okay, now if you see in the Salesforce, right, in the Salesforce adapters, right, we have two query service or two query operations, right? Where is my query? Yeah, one is query, another is query all, right? Now to see the difference, let's do one thing. Okay, let's copy this. Okay, and create, everything will remain same, and query, there I will create one more endpoint, which is query all, right? And in this one I will use this operation instead of the query. Okay, and I will use the same query. Let me use the same query here as well. Oh, okay. So this is my query all, and this is the query. So it will help us to understand what is the difference between the query and query all. So just to let you know, the difference between the query and query all is query returns, or query all returns all the objects even which has been deleted, and query operations returns only objects which are not deleted. Okay, so let's see how it works. Okay, so this is my query, and this is query all, and then in the set object I'm converting my object payload to JSON. That's perfect. And here I'm converting my payload to JSON. Yep, so this looks good. Say Control S, and we are good to go. And let's see if my hot deployment has deployed the code, or let me stop this and run it again. I'm waiting for my clips to start. And here, okay, so now let's run. Localhost 80801 query. Okay, so as expected, we got the two objects, right? As you can see here, right? One is 34 ACR Street and other is 33 Delhi Streets, and the one object has state and country as MP India, and other has a Victoria Australia, right? And these both are associated with the same parent object, which was J, right? You can see here, and you please also notice the structure of the JSON. So it will have the same structure like underscore underscore r, which will be a parent object, and inside this parent object you will have a child object in the JSON, which contain the details of the child. Okay, and yeah, so these two are the extra fields that you always get. Okay, when you query a object, right, or when you run a query, which is the type, and other is ID. Okay, now let's run query all. I think it's all. Okay, so here also we got two objects. So actually, if you see here right now, no difference, because we have created the objects, we haven't deleted anything, right? So the difference between what I explain is difference between query and query all is query all returns all the objects, even if you have deleted them from the user interface, right? Which means if I come over here, yeah, here is my objects, right? So if you see right now here, we have two objects, right? Come over here and say all, right? Here you can see two objects, right? Now if I delete one of them, say suppose if I delete this one, let's say this one, delete. Okay, and done. Let's see. Over here, yep. So, okay, so if I run a query, I got only one object, right? But if I run query all, I'm still getting both objects. Okay, so that is the difference between the query and query all. Okay, and in fact, actually there is a field called is deleted. Okay, so in case of actually query, okay, let's run, and then I will explain. Go ahead, query all. Okay, so save it, and I will wait my hot deployment to understand and deploy this. Yeah, it's deploying. Okay, done. Now let's run this. Okay, if you see here it says is deleted false in the query, and in case of the query all, it's for the first one, obviously it will say is deleted false, and the further one it says is deleted true, right? So in this one, in query, right, the query, I mean the this service has the way it runs is it always says where is deleted is false, right? And this will not have any such condition, right? So if I, even in query all, if I say at the end, right, if I go at the end of my query, and I write from this, from emp underscore address underscore c where is deleted equal to false, it will return the same result that my query operation returns, right? So that is the difference between the query and query all. Okay, so now we have our app created, our tabs ready, and our app ready, so we can perform and we can look into all other operations as well that Mule provide to interact with the Salesforce. Okay.